Namaste. Welcome to the video series lecture on periodic table of an element. Today in this series we are going to discuss third video on Mendeleev's periodic table. On Mendeleev's periodic table, the introduction part of this. So what is this Mendeleev's periodic table? Now Mendeleev's periodic table is basically a table or a chart where you arrange different elements in increasing order of its atomic mass or atomic weight. So generally, Mendeleev periodic table is based on Mendeleev's periodic law. Mendeleev periodic table is based on Mendeleev's periodic law, which states that properties of an element are periodic function of its atomic mass or atomic weight. Properties of an element are periodic function. Periodic function means it depends on atomic mass or atomic weight. So as atomic mass or atomic weight changes, properties of an element changes, but as it is periodic, it is going to repeat after fixed interval of a time. So according to this law, properties of an element changes, but it do repeat itself after certain fixed interval of a time. So generally this is basically a chart where I have arranged different elements. So roughly when Mendeleev gave this periodic table, at that time we had some 63 elements were given space, that means given a place in his periodic table. Here I arrange element in increasing order of its atomic mass or atomic weight in such a way that elements which are having similar property, all this element fall in a same vertical column, which we call it as a group. All the element possessing similar vertical column, similar properties, they all fall under a one same group, we can say, that is called as a vertical column. Now there are terms which you are going to come across in Mendeleev periodic table very frequently. So the very first term, that is a period. So what are periods? So horizontal row in a Mendeleev periodic table, that is called as period of Mendeleev periodic table. Then we come across a group. So what are groups? The vertical columns in Mendeleev periodic table, we call it as a group. So as you can see, these are the horizontal lines. So this I call it as a period of the Mendeleev periodic table. Whereas these are the vertical lines which I come across, that's the group, we can say. So if you look at this particular periodic table very carefully, I'll observe that there are total 6 periods in Mendeleev periodic table. So there are total 6 periods are there in Mendeleev periodic table, and there are 8 vertical columns. So I have 8 groups are there. Now if you clearly see the groups, they have been divided into subgroups. So those have been given Roman numbers. So I have group 1, 2, group 7 are divided into 2 subgroups. That is subgroup 1A, subgroup 1B, subgroup 2A, subgroup 2B, like that respectively. So this continues till 7. So I have 7A, 7B. Then 8th group is not been divided into any subgroup. So it is not been divided into any subgroup, we can say. Okay. Now if you carefully look this particular periodic table. This particular periodic table is based on some of the properties. So here, normally this periodic table is based on the formation of hydride as well as oxide, which is formed by the element. So if you closely look at here, in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, I wrote R2O, RO, R2O3, RO2, R2O5, RO3, R2O7, where here in like R2O, so R indicates the element in that group, element in that group. So it's the formation of an oxide, the formula of an oxide has been written. Then second, I'm having a hydride, RH, RH2, RH3, RH4, RH3, RH2, RH. So here also, when I write the hydride, the R indicates there the element present in that group. So further information about Mendeleev periodic table will take in our next video regarding what are the few important things which we need to look for Mendeleev periodic table in the next video. Thank you.